Potter's Journal, May 2019. In the last video, we threw some batter bowls on the potter's wheel. It usually takes about 2 or 3 videos to work through an idea or a theme or a single pot. I started these maybe early April, so we need to get them finished up. It's a special order. Today we will be doing the pour test with the handles. Oh, well, we will be doing handles. That was the special order, to get them made with handles, and the pour test with the spout. I made these coming straight out. One improvement I'll say that I could do on that was to maybe slant it slightly up so that any liquid left in there will drip back into the bowl. Okay, let's get the handles and spouts put on and put these to the pour test. Okay, the back row is going to be berry colanders. The front row, here are the batter bowls. The berry colanders are a good way to get started on this. The reason I leave the extra thickness up at the lip is because if you just pull it out, there's not enough clay there to make a spout. So I leave the little extra thickness, and I am pinching and pulling up on this. And then we will round it off. It's also why we kept the decoration down low, so that when we did pull that up, we wouldn't be pulling into the decoration. And then, yeah, you want 2 fingers like that and the other like that to make the spout. And I am just pulling it till it, not till it comes down like that, but just till it comes straight out. That with a batter, it is going to drip a bit. The commercial ones do. Sometimes people expect more from a potter than they do from commercial ware, and we do try. Okay, and these still will get handles on them. That was the specific part of the special order and what we're looking for. Okay, make sure this is the same on both sides. It's a little thick over there, so I'm just going to widen it on this side. And maybe just give that a little extra pinch. There we go. Now we've got it the same on both sides. Okay, so these are all a little bit different. I did let them evolve, and different decoration method on each one, so not a standard production piece for me, but just something we are giving a try. Okay, so we are giving each one of these bowls a good test, including the commercial bowl. Okay, so a bit of oil, but you might want to do the butter instead. And okay, this batter, I did 3 batches. Each one is a little bit different. And maybe you need to wait and make sure you drip it in the pan as opposed to on the table or on the floor. And it looks like, so that one is coming a little drip down the pan, or down the bowl. This one left 1 drip, and the Pyrex left 2 drips and actually ran down the pan too. So, okay, I think I passed the test. And okay, we lifted that a little too soon, I think, but okay, so stop back for another video, or maybe we'll serve these up today. Okay, so pinch and pull. And then round it off. And, okay, reaching up over the camera. Let's see if we can do this. Okay, and needs to be a little thinner over here to match the first side. It's been a while since I've done this. Anything with a spout. Okay. So about halfway through here, okay, I don't see any more drips other than the first one when I started to pour more cleanly. I'm really happy with that. I think as potters we're sometimes held to higher standards than the commercial ware people, where I've got a ton of drips. I think here though the problem is too narrow a spout, maybe not made for pouring batter, just like the syrup jugs in some of my past videos needed to be wide. So, or I mean very narrow to make a fine stream. I'm very happy to have passed the test. However, the taste test, they just don't seem to be stacking up. Or maybe that's because they unstack as fast as they come out of the kiln or the frying pan. Okay, getting handles on these batter bowls. Okay, a lump of clay. I roll it into a carrot. This is not as easy as putting a handle on the side of a mug. Actually, it's exactly the same as putting a handle on the side of a mug. But because we're only doing a half a dozen and, you know, not a board of, you know, at least 12, or I think the last time I did 22 mugs, you know, you set it up and do them one after the other, assembly line, and I've done so many over the years, and they're all relatively the same. We're kind of guessing on the size and the shape and the form of it. Okay, after we get that carrot, I am flattening it a little bit, giving it a turn, and flattening it again. Okay, and one more turn to get the flat side up. I like to put a ridge down the center, so I've got my fingers wet. And once we get the part wet where the swipe back and forth is to be, that will help glide your hands back and forth over it. Much thicker on this end. Okay. I'll use a needle and make an arched cut. And while I'm doing it, I am giving it a saw action, so that it is automatically scored, and that will fit nice and round onto the side of the pot. Okay, here we go. We need to find the opposite side from the spout. We don't want it to be off center. And a bit of a score. And the slip. Okay, and it's extra wide and extra thick so that we're both pushing, you know, down with our thumb and up, and then in at the same time. This way, and here we'll once again make sure that we're lined up with the spout. Just because we scored it and marked it doesn't mean we still are. So that when you're now pushing this, compacting the handle and pushing it in towards the pot, it doesn't get too thin because we left some extra thickness there. Okay, and we will take this down, and okay, once again a bit of slip and maybe a bit of a score, and I think that can be a little thinner. Well, it's going to be taken off. So some of that ridge that I put in there that I like, we are going to use because that is too thick. We need to get this thinner. It does need to be somewhat thick. It does need to be somewhat substantial, a handle, but that was a bit too much. Okay, I am going to leave a lot there to grab onto. So I wasn't sure about the form and shape of the bowl, not thinking that probably a little bit of height in the bowl is important so that there's you know, place to put a handle on. Okay. And work the bottom part on. Okay, the top we will. Okay, arch one side on, nice smooth curves, and the other. Underneath is a clean swipe with the finger to clean it up. On top, because it was the way it's put on, there's actually 3 marks to line up and get clean. And then here's where a lot of especially beginner handles get rough or bumped up. Okay, you can take 2 fingers and thin down that edge, and it can take out any rough parts that you put in while forming it, and it can also make a very thick, bulky, heavy handle because you'll put a thin edge on it, look a bit more elegant. And these are going to need to dry out upside down. Okay, so this is something new for me. We're working this out as we go. We may take notes on how they came out this time and make changes the next time we make batter bowls. Okay, and oh no, did we do something to the lip? Come back and clean that up too. Okay, I think we held up pretty good considering I really didn't put that in much thought into the pouring spout and just pretty much did it. I guess years ago I've done this before. Now, let's get these stacked up in the kiln and see if we can get them out the door. What's in the kiln today? Okay. Using some different clay bodies. We've got my donut jugs here, some with the flat bottom. It doesn't look like I centered the top of the flask, but it looks like so far we're okay. It didn't, clay memory didn't take them off center. I don't know if that still may happen in the glaze firing when we go up quite a bit higher. I have 2 clays on these, and in this instance it's distinctive even in the bisque that the dark clay body is dark, and the other one, assuming I used only one other one, the T-bowls on the bottom, and here is the dark clay body. And I was real happy with these. I was worried that after I trimmed them that I wasn't going to be happy, but so far I've been real pleased with these. And what else is in here today? Okay, the batter bowls. And you know, in the end I think I like the one with the straight sides more than the ones with the bulged outsides that I thought at the time were the nicer and the more formed and the better, but I think I like the plain. Also, I didn't think that it was such a short, narrow, because they weren't very tall, and I thought, well, you can't even get your hand in there to grip it, but finally realized it's going to carry some weight, and by grabbing it like this with a finger above, 2 in here and 1 down below, that it actually maybe was better for carrying the weight. and pouring. So we will have to try these out and see if they work. Okay, and do subscribe because we are going to give them the test. Okay, let's stir the batter. Yeah, it's good to see the stacks start to go down, even if it's only a couple at a time. Okay, we've got yogurt and homemade cranberry pomegranate jam on there and the syrup. I will put a link up to my double bowl video. I have a couple of those, great for serving the jam and the yogurt. I'll make a triple bowl so we can put the nuts in there too. And I will put a link up to my syrup jug. I haven't fired the ones with the spout yet, although the plastic bottle, that spout doesn't do much good. I'm hoping my spout will do something because it did stand up to the test on my batter bowls. Last video, I'll put a link up to that one too. Stood up to the test against the old standard. Okay, do subscribe and stop back. If you haven't had enough pumpkin yet, we do have it in the freezer. We can be eating it yet all summer. Okay, let's see how these come out of the kiln next video.